Hello and welcome to the first lecture in the exercise portion of chapter 22. As such, in chapter 22, entire chapter was thoroughly discussed theoretically by these 10 lectures, and each lecture was around 1 hour. So that means we have discussed the chapter in proper manner. But at the end of that 10th lecture, I told you that in this chapter we want to start a new experiment, sort of, and the experiment is that at least for this chapter, I will do the exercise myself but using generative AI tools. Okay, and for that we have used this. I have installed this Jupyter AI chat. I will show you the method and all that, how to install Jupyter AI chat and all those things. But this is my Windows client only, and majority of the learners are using Windows client. I have installed it on Ubuntu Linux also. Unfortunately, I don't have Mac hardware for with me, but on Mac also the installation is more or less, not more or less, but I think 99% same as Ubuntu. So whenever required, I will teach you how to install it. But let us say at present I have already installed it. So this is my Jupyter AI chat. It is called Jupyter Not. And here in lower part you can see that there is one window, Ask Jupyter Not. So there you have to ask your question, and based on that it will give you answer. But what will give you answer? Some large language model. Now this Jupyter AI gives you a big choice. If you want to use locally installed model, then you can use OLLAMA. Now again I will have to teach how to install this OLLAMA on Windows, on Linux, and on Ubuntu, right? On Windows, Ubuntu, and Mac rather. Okay, and once OLLAMA is installed, then you can use several different models. If I just show you a list of possible models, you can see here one model I am still pulling. That is Llama 3.2 Vision from the OLLAMA repository. But I already have many other models. So let me open another command prompt, and in that another command prompt, I just have to write OLLAMA list, and it will pull all the models which I have already installed. Now you don't need to install all these models because our course is mainly Python based. So maybe one general purpose model like Llama. Okay. Now this was Llama 3.1 already installed, but now I am installing Llama 3.2 Vision. So perhaps Llama 3.1 is not required. I will try, and then I will, if I am satisfied, then I will delete this old model. Okay, fine. Now for Python, I will be using mainly Wizard Coder. This, that is 34 billion. And for SQL, if you want to do SQL, then you will use this. And some other models are also there, but you don't need all of them. This Code Llama is exclusively for coding, and this DuckNow as NSQL, that is also a nice model. Then this Mixtral is called Mixture of Experts type model, and that is also a good model, but we don't need all of them. So for your case, whenever I will tell you how to install this Llama and all that, I will tell you also one more thing, that what are maybe one or two models that you need, because you can see the problem here is the size. Okay, so this Llama 3.7 billion, that is 39 gigabytes. Mixtral is 79 gigabytes. Then Code Llama is 38 GB. Then this is all are 19 GB. Some are 4.1 GB also, but some are 19 GB and so on. What will be the total hard disk space of all this? It will acquire on the occupy this much space on your hard disk. So I have a big hard disk, 5 terabytes, 5 TB. So I can afford to install so many. But depending upon your hardware capacity, you may or may not be able to use all of these, right? So then there might be some other options for you, and that other options are maybe installing only a smaller version of it, because this 70 billion is there, but Llama 3.1 also has one less number of that tuning parameters, and accordingly it will have this smaller size also, right? So then you can use that. Okay, and second thing you can do is, suppose you don't have hardware and you don't want to install anything on your computer, then you can use instead of that API. So I have installed so many APIs here: Anthropic, OPENAI. These two are the major players at present. Mistral, Cohere, these are also significantly good. A121 together API, Hugging Face, and all that. Now the problem with API is only one, that most of these API are paid and require credit card for payment in dollar. For example, OpenAI API key. Now that is as such pay as use type of billing model they have. So that is one thing, but you require a credit card, international credit card, right? And similarly here, there are certain things, certain models which will give you free API key also, but for them you have to what you call be satisfied with less context window. That is, in one query you cannot ask more than a particular amount of words, particular number of words, and you also have to be content with the smaller responses, right? Okay. So initially, I have OpenAI API installed on my these, and I'm paying the subscription. So I am initially showing with OpenAI. Now in OpenAI also there are several models you can see. These were the earliest model, Babbage and DaVinci, and they are the cheapest as far as API charge is concerned. But they are slow also. They will give less context. These have, for example, 16K context window, 16,000, right? But later on, if you see GPT-4, 32,000 context window is there, and there's GPT-4.0, that is the state-of-the-art model at present. So I'm at present choosing this state-of-the-art model, okay, and I'm saving my changes. So I saved my changes. That means now onwards, then I click that arrow on the left side so that I'm going back to that question. So now onwards, when I ask any question to this Jupyter Not, then it will go to OpenAI's server, and it is as good as using ChatGPT. So that means, for example, ChatGPT, if you open, then this is my ChatGPT, and here you ask some question. Maybe that question may be related with history or science or maybe language or coding related, any question, right? And in free version, they will not allow to attach the file. So that means you cannot attach a script or and tell it that examine my script and debug it for me, or you cannot attach some image and tell it that create a user interface like this. But if I have the account, that requires $20 per month, and that is totally different, and that API thing is totally different. Okay, but if I have my account, here I do have, so I will log in with Google, and at that time I can attach, that you can see. Okay, so now I can attach the file. So it is up to you what to use. Okay, and this is still free account only, but for attaching the file you require to at least log in. Okay, and I have even the paid account also. There I will have the benefit that I will be able to use greater context window and faster response speed and all that. Okay, and if I insist on using those OLLAMA model which are installed on my PC, that is all these models, any one of them, then there is one this kind of similar web UI which I can create on my computer. Remember, this is running on localhost, so this is just running locally on my PC. And here I can select the model, Code Llama and Llama and all that. These are the same as these, right? This, okay, SQL Coder and whatever I have installed on my PC, those are available here. And that new one which I am installing at present, that is this one, that will also be soon be available once the installation is over. Okay, so this is one way of using, another way of using large language models locally. This is just like your ChatGPT user interface. Okay, but it is not it will do everything locally. So if privacy is the issue, client's data or some sensitive data is there, then you can simply switch off the internet and you can use these local models. Fine. Now I will show you the usage of both later on, but currently I am just showing the usage of this Jupyter Lab based, this that is this OpenAI based, API based. So OpenAI GPT-4.0 is the model which I have selected. Its API key I have already installed. Okay, I will tell you how to get that API key, and I have saved the changes. So now whatever questions I ask, that will go to the OpenAI's model and it will give me the answer, right? Okay. Now the way of doing this is this, that given a data set with first question in the exercise with columns temperature, humidity, energy output, create a new feature. Because if you remember, our chapter had these parts: creating new feature, then data scaling, normalization and all that. So I am at present, first question is for creating new feature. Okay, so exercise first question is about creating new feature. So this is given that there is a data set which contains column temperature, humidity and energy output, and it is even given that these are the values in the data set, and this is how you will create the data set. I have to give that because otherwise every student will create a different data set values, and then there would be disparity in the answer. All answers may be correct, but they would be different, right? So just for the sake of kind of uniformity, I am giving you that this is my data set. Create a new feature which captures the interaction between temperature and humidity, and describe a scenario where this interaction may be useful in predicting energy output. Now you can see that although that large language model is there, if I did not earlier teach about interaction effects, then you might be in trouble, means what to do with this type of question, right? But now we know that sometimes only 3 given features are not enough. So sometimes you have to do addition of 2 features, additive interaction, or multiplication of 2 features, any 2 features like that. Okay, and you add that column and then make a model and see if it gives better accuracy compared to the model with only original features, that is without any interaction. Okay, and what is interaction? Interaction is, suppose you are predicting something, say this energy output is your response variable and temperature and humidity are your features. Okay, now temperature has its role in predicting energy output. That means temperature has certain relation with the response variable. This feature has certain relation with the response variable. When it is alone, that means when humidity column is not there. Now the question is, if I add humidity column, then does the presence of humidity column change the relation between temperature and energy output? So that means in scientific language, I would say that does adding a new feature change the relation between original feature and the response variable? If yes, then I will say that there is some interaction between the new feature which is added and the original feature which was there, right? So such interaction often play important part. So we will, when we create a data like this, we make a very naive assumption that each feature is completely independent of all others. So that means we assume that this temperature does not interfere in the relation between humidity and energy output. And similarly, this humidity does not interfere in relation between temperature and energy output again. But in reality, often it occurs that some interaction between two features is always occurring. And at that time, we want to check that if there is some interaction or not, then we create some interaction features. Maybe we create interaction feature like temperature plus humidity or temperature multiplied by humidity. Just example, here temperature and humidity are totally different units. So that is why adding them does not make much sense, right? But still, you can take other example which shows some kind of relation or interaction between the two features. Okay, so that is what is asked here. So first question should be clear, because the clearer you are about problem, the more work you can take from your large language model. And that is the biggest thing why large language models are at present appreciated a lot as a this productivity boosters, particularly for data scientists, because it changes the focus completely. Earlier, a lot of mental focus and energy of data scientists was used in developing the code. Now the focus is back to the problem solving, and it is less on developing the code, because code can be easily developed. Okay, so here I am pasting this whole question itself. Given a data set with column temperature, humidity, and energy output, create a new feature. So I am pasting that entire here, and here is the data set. So I am even pasting the code for the data set also. So instead of here is the data set, I will have to write here is the Python code for generating the data set. Okay, and I will paste this code, because this code is a part of question. As I said, I want every student to develop same data so that there is uniformity in the answer. And once I have pasted my entire question, and I will click the next button, and it is getting response from OpenAI. And since I have that paid API, that is why the response is very fast. You can see that it has created the data first, then it has converted into pandas data frame, then it has created one interaction effect, temperature multiplied by humidity. As I said, that humidity and temperature have totally different units. So plus or minus, addition, subtraction does not make sense, but multiplication does make sense. Okay, so you can just take this, because here we are not asked to do anything more than that. They are just asking create a new feature. So a new feature is created, and I can copy this code to the clipboard, and here below this only I will add one more cell, and there I am writing this and printing the data frame. Okay, so you can see that this is the temperature humidity interaction, or temperature multiplied by humidity. Okay, so new column is added to my data set. Original columns were temperature, humidity, and the energy output, and now temperature humidity interaction is there. But there was something more also asked, that describe a scenario where this interaction might be possible or might be useful in predicting the energy output. So this energy output is my response variable, this. And now how many features are there? Not only temperature and humidity, but temperature, humidity, and this third feature is also there, temperature humidity interaction. So we are describing some scenario for using this kind of interaction features. Okay, of course, never just blindly copy paste. After I add one cell and convert it to markdown cell, I will paste that, but I will check each and every line. So scenario for using the interaction feature. Okay, fine. Now, in the context of predicting energy output, the interaction between temperature and humidity might be particularly useful in the scenarios like, fine, what scenarios? Then it has given one example, environment control systems. Okay, now if you are working with an energy system in a climate controlled environment, nowadays even cars, luxury cars also have climate control systems fitted, right? Both temperature and humidity can significantly affect the system's efficiency or capacity. In a greenhouse, high humidity level coupled with high temperature might lead to reduced efficiency of cooling system and affecting energy output. So maybe temperature alone does not give idea about energy output, or humidity alone, but their product is higher or lower. That gives perhaps more important idea about the energy output, and that is more important determinant as far as some climate control systems are concerned. For example, this this greenhouse for farming, right? Now, in thermal power plant, the efficiency of turbines can be affected by both ambient temperature and humidity. So high humidity level at high temperature might indicate significant loss in efficiency due to increased density or other thermodynamic factors. So again, the bottom line is if both humidity and temperature are high, that reduces the efficiency. And similarly, third example is data center, which is the latest rage at present, because these large language models, if you want to use them, then many companies are preferring nowadays to train their own large language models and install them locally or in their own infrastructure for the sake of privacy of their confidential data. And data centers are important. Even government of India also has announced many progressive and incentives if you want to set up your own data center, right? So in data centers, managing thermal loads is crucial. The interaction between temperature and humidity can impact cooling systems differently. For example, at higher temperatures, increased humidity might exacerbate cooling challenges, therefore affecting the need for the cooling system. Again, the bottom line is only one: at higher temperature and increased humidity. Okay, so now once you have read what answer it has given, okay, so I can just modify the answer and make it very brief, including all this. So in the context of predicting energy output, the interaction between temperature and humidity might be particularly useful in scenarios like greenhouse, that was first example; thermal power plant, that was second example; and thermal power plant turbine efficiency, and the third example was data centers, right? So at least I have, then in all three cases, I will start my next sentence. In all three cases, the efficiency of cooling systems is, or efficiency of cooling system, right? Okay, fine. But here, at least in the power plant, cooling systems or turbine, because for greenhouse it is cooling system. For data center also it would be cooling system only, because computer hardwares need to be kept at a lower temperature. Okay, so that is why for here what answer it gives: in greenhouse, efficiency of cooling system, while in data center also cooling systems efficiency, but in thermal power plant it is efficiency of turbine. Okay, so in all three cases, the efficiency of cooling system or turbine is more dependent on both the temperature and humidity. So a new feature made by adding a column which gives product of these two means temperature and humidity, may be more meaningful. Now, whether it is really more meaningful or not, that you have to move further and you have to do the test train split, select one algorithm, and then you have to measure the accuracy or various parameters, R square, etc. Because you are predicting here energy output, which is a continuous variable. So this is a regression problem, right? So then you have to make a model. First, make a model with only temperature, humidity, energy output. Don't add this column. Then second time, add this column, so that means make temperature, humidity, and this interaction also as a feature, and energy output as a response variable. But I am adding this column but not dropping this column, so that can be my second case. I again measure R square. Then in third case, from these two columns, make this interaction column and thereafter drop these two columns, because all the information is already contained here. Or rather than saying all information is contained, I should say that temperature alone does not give full idea, humidity alone does not give full idea compared to the idea which is given by product of temperature and humidity, right? So energy output is more dependent upon product of temperature and humidity and not on independently on these two. So you can drop these two columns and just this one column is one feature and this is your output, and you can plot a graph of y versus x, and then you can predict the energy output. So three cases would be there. First, these two features, this response variable. Then second case would be these two features and this third feature and this response variable. And third case would be this only one feature, which is the product of two features and this response variable. So do all this and find R square. And as I have said that now you know that there is no need to do whole process from scratch. Once you create a pipeline, you just feed different data frames. So first you feed first case data frame, then second time you feed second case data frame, and third time you feed third case data frame, and then you can try this that your pipeline to see which R square is maximum, right? So a very helpful way of doing data science is this, right? And you always learn new things. Now then second question. So that we will do in the next lecture. But at least question, let me read. Demonstrate how to encode a categorical variable season with the values spring, summer, fall, and winter. So this is a categorical variable, and these are its 4 values, right? And we want to show one hot encoding, okay? And then explain why you will prefer one hot encoding over label encoding. And here is how will you construct the data frame. Now we will take this question next time. But I'm having a little bit doubt about why you would prefer one hot encoding over label encoding, because maybe to my mind both are equally good here, and in fact label encoding would only not add that many columns compared to one hot encoding. But let us see what answer our large language model does. So I am teaching you not only how to use LLM but how not to use LLM. Okay, if you blindly use it to copy your question and whatever answer it gives, copy your answer back in the Jupyter notebook, and you shut down your brain and completely while doing the process, then I'm sorry, but that is going to harm you more than help you as a programmer, as a data scientist, or in any other field also. You are author or any other field where you are using large language model. But if you use large language model as a kind of your co-worker, and you continue with active discussion with your large language model, and meanwhile while reading your problem or studying your problem also you keep your critical mind on. For example, here I said that it has said that explain why you would prefer one hot encoding over label encoding. Now, I don't find this appropriate, and I gave you the reason also why I don't find it appropriate. So that way, mental criticism of the question and scrutiny of the question should continue, so that your brain also should start working simultaneously while the LLM gives its answer. Then the answer which your brain would give will perhaps be more creative, while the answer which LLM will give, that will be perhaps more precise. And then if you blend the answers, then that would be a nice blending of creativity with precision or accuracy, right? Okay, so we will do this question in the next lecture. Thank you.